They say you can't make someone love you. But what if love isn't something you make at all? What if love is something that already exists, quietly waiting to be stirred awake within another heart? Not through clever words, not through force or strategy, but through the simple, silent power of who you are. When a person stops chasing love and instead begins to embody it, something shifts. The law of inner reflection becomes apparent. Love is never really about another person. It is a mirror, a living projection of what lies dormant within the soul, waiting for recognition, for awakening, for resonance. A man does not fall in love simply because of a woman's beauty, her charm, or her kindness. He falls in love because her presence awakens something forgotten inside him, a fragment of himself he had long abandoned or hidden. She becomes the mirror through which he glimpses his own potential, his own capacity for depth and vulnerability. What he feels for her is often less about her and more about what she has helped him rediscover, his longing to be fully alive, fully seen, and fully complete. Love, in its truest form, is never possession, but recognition. Love is the meeting of two reflections searching for themselves in each other's eyes. When a woman grasps this, she stops trying to chase affection or force connection. She no longer attempts to persuade a man to feel what he naturally must feel. Instead, she becomes the living embodiment of love itself. She mirrors the truth of who he is beneath the layers of fear, pride, and armor he has constructed. And in doing so, she creates a space where he feels safe to encounter the person he has longed to be. Real love awakens when another soul sees you completely. Every man carries within him a hidden world, a silent space where dreams, tenderness, and insecurities reside, untouched by the casual gaze of the world. Most people never see this side of him because it is tender, fragile, and easily bruised. But when he stands before a woman who perceives beyond the surface, who sees not just who he appears to be, but who he truly is, something ancient stirs within. He feels understood without having to explain, accepted without having to perform. That sensation is electric. It is not logical, and he may not even consciously recognize it, but it is magnetic, pulling him toward her without effort. Love cannot be forced. A man's heart cannot be persuaded by words, gifts, or charm alone. Yet love can be awakened gently and profoundly by a woman who becomes the mirror of his own greatness. When he senses that his presence near her makes him more fully himself, his soul naturally leans in. He may attribute his attraction to beauty, grace, or conversation, but the true force is emotional resonance, the sense of being truly seen, truly known. People are drawn to those who allow them to feel alive, to recognize the spark within themselves they thought they had lost. But this kind of reflection is only possible through authenticity. A woman who seeks to manipulate, perform, or gain approval cannot awaken real love. Her energy speaks of need, fear, and external validation rather than inner truth. A mirror must be clear to reflect light, and so must a person. When a woman is grounded in self-worth, when she has faced her own shadows, embraced her imperfections, and embodied her own wholeness, she radiates a calm strength that disarms a man's defenses. He senses that she does not seek to control or alter how he sees her, and in that absence of pressure, his true self begins to unfold naturally. Her presence becomes a sanctuary. In that quiet, unspoken space, his inner reflection feels safe to appear. He can reveal tenderness, vulnerability, and longing without fear of judgment. She does not insist, argue, or demand. She simply exists as a steady reflection of truth, holding space for his unfolding. In this delicate exchange, love is awakened, not through manipulation, but through resonance, presence, and recognition. The more she embodies her own light, the more he is drawn toward it. not as a possession, but as an invitation to encounter the fullest expression of himself, mirrored back in her calm, unwavering presence. In this state, love transforms from a chase into a quiet remembrance. A man does not simply fall in love with the woman standing before him. He falls in love with the man he becomes in her presence, with the version of himself that her energy awakens. Her presence reminds him of the possibilities that lie dormant within him, the courage to follow his heart instead of succumbing to fear. He feels drawn, not because she demands his attention or approval, but because she reflects back the highest version of himself. This is the subtle, unspoken power behind the law of inner reflection. It does not coerce, it awakens. True love begins not with attraction, but with recognition, with the moment a man finally feels seen for who he truly is. A man's heart, no matter how confident or detached he may appear, is guarded by layers of silent fears. Fear of rejection, fear of inadequacy, fear of losing control. Beneath the composed exterior, there exists a deep longing to be accepted without performance or proof. Love cannot enter a heart that is defended because where fear resides, openness cannot flourish. Emotional safety becomes the invisible bridge, allowing love to move from mere attraction to deep connection, from fleeting desire to enduring devotion. When a woman provides this safety, not through pleasing or fixing him, but by allowing him to simply exist, she becomes the calm in which his soul rests, the sanctuary where his deepest self can emerge. Excitement may come and go, but what a man remembers most is the woman who makes him feel at peace. When he senses that he can reveal his flaws, doubts, and vulnerability without judgment or ridicule, his heart begins to attach unconsciously. This attachment is not born of effort, but of resonance. The feeling of being able to be fully human without consequence. Most men rarely encounter such acceptance because society demands strength, achievement, and control, teaching them to suppress vulnerability. Yet the deeper part of a man longs for precisely what he hides: the freedom to be human, to exist fully and authentically without fear. A woman who does not weaponize his weaknesses but holds them with compassion awakens something far more powerful than mere attraction. She provides safety, and safety is not the same as approval. It is the absence of threat, the permission to exist in authenticity without fear. A woman who is grounded in her own self-worth does not lecture, attack, or attempt to control. Her calm presence communicates that love does not require perfection. She becomes a mirror through which he sees his humanity without shame. True emotional safety flows from strength, not submission. It is a quiet confidence that says, "You are free to be who you are, and I am free to remain who I am." In this balance, both hearts relax. Emotional safety is also cultivated through the art of listening. Not the kind that waits to respond, but the kind that hears the unspoken between words. When a woman listens with curiosity rather than judgment, she allows his emotions to surface without fear of ridicule. Every man carries unspoken pain, often buried so deeply he forgets it exists. A gentle, empathetic presence awakens that buried truth and allows healing to begin, simply through acknowledgement and understanding. This kind of listening is not a tactic, it is an expression of pure presence. In such an atmosphere, love stops being a battlefield and becomes a sanctuary, a space where he does not merely desire her body, but seeks the peace radiating from her soul. When a man feels emotionally safe, he begins to invest his energy, honesty, and devotion, not out of obligation or expectation, but because it feels natural. Safety is the catalyst that transforms a guarded heart into a loving one, allowing the masculine to soften without losing strength, to give love freely without fear of losing himself. Emotional safety cannot be manufactured through effort or persuasion. It arises from authenticity, from the quiet creation of a space where truth is welcome and where love no longer needs to hide behind defenses. In this presence, a man begins to lower his walls, feeling the invitation to show his true self. The mystery of feminine energy lies in its quiet strength, its ability to attract without chasing, to influence without control. A man becomes captivated not by the woman who tries to win him, but by the one whose presence is already complete without him. Feminine energy is not about appearance, charm, or tactics. It is a vibration, a subtle language of grace, softness, and self-assurance that communicates directly to the unconscious mind. When a woman is deeply rooted in herself, her worth unshaken by external validation, she radiates a calm magnetism. Her energy draws him effortlessly because it does not seek, it simply invites. Her presence does not demand attention, yet it is impossible to ignore. In her stillness, a man feels something rare in the noisy world: peace, fascination, and the desire to understand her more deeply. Every man is instinctively drawn to mystery, not because it conceals, but because it reveals only what is essential. Feminine energy is subtle, soft, and deeply felt. It calms defenses while awakening curiosity. When a woman is grounded in her inner confidence, she no longer needs to prove her worth. She embodies it. Her boundaries are firm, yet her presence is fluid. She moves intuitively, leaning in and pulling back in harmony with the natural rhythm of connection. This balance creates an unconscious resonance. A man feels safe in her openness, while challenged by her independence. She does not need to justify or explain herself because her value is evident in how she moves, how she listens, and how she holds her silence. Masculine energy thrives on purpose and direction, yet it instinctively seeks refuge in the emotional depth of the feminine. When a woman embraces her natural essence, her capacity to feel, nurture, and receive, she becomes the grounding force that allows a man to reconnect with parts of himself he has long suppressed. Her presence is both an anchor and a mirror. The world often teaches men to disconnect from their emotions, equating vulnerability with weakness. Yet when a man encounters a woman who carries warmth and emotional stability, he feels invited to return to what he has forgotten, his own heart. Her gentle strength makes it safe for him to feel. Her silence does not punish but soothes, and her patience reveals power that transforms rather than dominates. This is the hidden reason some women appear effortlessly magnetic. Their beauty is not only physical, it is energetic. They move with trust in themselves, in timing, and in the flow of connection. They do not need to force love because they already embody it. When a woman seeks validation or approval, her energy tightens, repelling the very thing she desires. But when she is centered and whole within herself, her energy expands, naturally inviting love to enter. Men can sense this difference instantly, even if they cannot articulate why. A woman who carries the mystery of feminine energy becomes unforgettable because she touches a man beyond logic. True feminine power is authentic. It does not imitate masculinity or compete with it. It complements and balances. When a woman fully embraces her emotions, intuition, gentleness, and strength, she awakens something sacred in a man, the desire to honor her, not conquer her. In her presence, his pride softens and his soul begins to listen. She becomes the quiet force reminding him of tenderness beyond ambition, beauty beyond fear. Feminine energy is not about submission or dominance. It is about wholeness, radiance, and the courage to simply exist. This is the mystery that makes a man love deeply, not because she chases him, but because she unknowingly calls his heart home. The alchemy of vulnerability is the invisible process through which two souls transform mere attraction into emotional intimacy. It begins not with perfection, but with truth, with the willingness to be seen without the masks that protect the ego. Most people confuse vulnerability with weakness, yet it is, in truth, the highest form of strength. To be vulnerable is to allow someone to witness the unguarded parts of yourself, your fears, hopes, insecurities, while trusting that you will still be accepted. For many men, this level of openness is rare. Society teaches them to equate emotion with failure, to armor themselves with stoicism, control, and conquest, but never to feel deeply. Yet when a man encounters a woman who embodies vulnerability with grace, something within him begins to shift. Her openness becomes permission, encouraging him to lower his defenses and connect not from pride, but from authenticity, from the essence of who he truly is. A woman's vulnerability carries a unique kind of power. It does not demand love. It evokes it. When she speaks her truth softly, without manipulation, blame, or performance, her words resonate directly with the heart. Her tears are not a plea for pity, but a reflection of her capacity to feel deeply, fully, without fear. A man may resist at first, but her emotional honesty slowly melts the walls he has spent years building around himself. Her softness is not fragility. It is courage in its purest, most luminous form. In her willingness to be fully seen, she teaches him that love is not about control or perfection, but about presence, truth, and the quiet power of authenticity. In this space, he falls in love not just with her strength, but with her humanity. The way she can be strong and tender, certain and uncertain, fearless yet afraid, yet remain open, transforms his understanding of love. Vulnerability awakens his instinct to protect, not physically, but emotionally. Her trust in revealing her heart sparks a sense of responsibility and care within him. He feels honored, inspired to match her honesty, and the dynamic between them becomes sacred. Together, they shed roles, defenses, and masks, meeting as two souls without pretense. It is here that love matures, rooted not in control, but in trust and mutual authenticity. True vulnerability, however, cannot exist without boundaries. It is not reckless oversharing, nor a plea for rescue. It is conscious openness, chosen from a place of self-respect. When a woman shares her truth without expecting to be saved, she communicates emotional maturity and strength. This kind of vulnerability is magnetic because it signals both confidence and trust. A man senses that her openness is not a weakness to exploit, but a gift to cherish. He is inspired to rise to meet her emotionally, to become the man worthy of the depth she offers. Love becomes not a game to win, but a shared journey of growth, surrender, and profound connection. In a world obsessed with appearances and control, vulnerability becomes the rarest form of beauty. It strips away pretense, revealing something raw and alive. When a man experiences this honesty, it lingers in his memory because it makes him feel seen, alive, and safe to feel. Love born from vulnerability is quiet, but deep, rooted in trust and mutual respect. It does not rely on constant reassurance or performance. It thrives in authenticity. Ultimately, it is not perfection that draws a man to a woman, but her courage to be real, to feel, to speak, and to love without armor. This alchemy transforms attraction into devotion, infatuation into enduring connection. The mirror of authenticity is the moment when attraction transcends illusion and becomes genuine connection. It begins the moment a woman stops performing and begins simply being. In a world where everyone strives to appear desirable, flawless, or in control, authenticity stands out. It carries a raw honesty that pierces pretense, awakening something real within a man. The presence of a woman who embodies vulnerability, self-respect, and emotional openness calls forth the highest parts of him, inviting him into a love that is not fleeting but enduring, not performative but profoundly transformative. When a woman fully embraces who she is, her flaws, contradictions, and emotions, she radiates an energy that feels alive. She no longer relies on strategies, appearances, or manipulation to be loved because she has already accepted herself. That self-acceptance becomes her silent power. A man may not understand it logically, but he feels it deeply. Her presence feels grounded, trustworthy, and real. She does not seek to impress, perform, or control perception. She simply allows him to witness her truth. Most men are accustomed to masks, polite smiles, rehearsed words, and emotional games. But a woman who shows herself fully, without pretense, is like a breath of fresh air. Her authenticity disarms him and invites him to lower his own armor. The moment he senses she has nothing to prove, his guard begins to soften. He feels safe to be honest, to admit fears, and to reveal his imperfections. Authenticity acts as an energetic mirror. When one person dares to be real, it grants permission to the other to do the same. That is why a man often finds himself drawn to a woman who simply feels different, not because she performs or does anything extraordinary, but because her energy communicates, "You can be yourself here." In a world dominated by noise, her presence feels like truth, and truth, even quietly expressed, has an irresistible pull. Authenticity also awakens deep respect. A woman who knows herself does not chase approval, she offers connection. She refuses to mold herself to meet someone else's expectations, and that quiet confidence stirs admiration within him. He may not always agree with her choices or opinions, but he cannot dismiss her. Her honesty, even when uncomfortable, commands trust. When she expresses her feelings without playing the victim, masking her emotions, or pretending to be indifferent, she demonstrates emotional maturity. This balance between vulnerability and self-respect draws a man in deeper, compelling him to value her not for what she gives, but for who she is when she stands fully in her truth. There is also a spiritual layer to authenticity. Every person carries both light and shadow, the parts they show and the parts they hide. Many relationships fail because people fall in love with a mask rather than the person beneath it. But when authenticity is present, love becomes a mirror for growth. A man who encounters a woman unafraid of her own complexity begins to see his own hidden sides reflected in her. Her honesty becomes a catalyst for his evolution. She does not rescue, fix, or change him. She reflects him. Through her truth, he is forced to confront his own, and though this may feel uncomfortable, it transforms attraction into profound depth. He begins to crave not a fantasy of love, but its reality, the kind that challenges, teaches, and heals. Authenticity is not perfection, it is presence. It is the courage to say, "This is who I am, and I am enough." A woman who embodies this truth does not manipulate a man's emotions. Instead, she awakens them. Her realness makes him feel grounded. Her honesty fosters trust. Her self-acceptance inspires him to embrace himself more deeply. The mirror of authenticity does not create illusion or fantasy. It reveals essence. In this presence, love ceases to be performative and becomes transformative, a meeting of two souls who recognize, reflect, and awaken the best within each other. And in that reflection, a man does not merely see a woman, he sees himself evolving, becoming better through her presence. That is why true love cannot exist without authenticity. It is the bridge between two souls who no longer need to pretend, who have finally found someone capable of seeing, accepting, and reflecting them as they truly are. The unseen language of presence is one of the most subtle yet powerful forms of communication between a man and a woman. It operates beneath words, beyond gestures, in the realm where energy speaks louder than anything spoken aloud. Even before he understands what he feels, his subconscious has already responded to her vibration. It is not her beauty alone that captivates him, but the frequency of her being, the way she moves through space, the way she listens, the peace or intensity that surrounds her, all communicate on a level deeper than words. Every glance, pause, and breath carries information that his inner self interprets long before his mind can process it. Presence is not performance. It is the natural emanation of a woman who is fully rooted in herself. True power begins when she stops trying to be seen and simply is. Fully present, she becomes magnetic without effort, unshaken by concern over appearances or perception, inhabiting her body, emotions, and energy completely. A man senses this difference immediately. Her grounded stillness draws him because it feels like truth. In a world of projections, personas, and pretense, her energy feels like home. Without words, her presence communicates, "You can rest here." This is why some women captivate men even in silence. Their energy carries depth, warmth, and awareness, speaking to the part of him weary of surfaces, hungry for authentic connection rather than stimulation. Presence also communicates respect and emotional intelligence. When a woman gives full attention, her eyes remain engaged, her body relaxed, her gestures aligned with ease, a man feels genuinely seen, not as a concept, a problem, or a project, but as a whole person. This simple act of full engagement opens him in ways words alone cannot. Presence tells him that he matters in that moment, that he need not compete for attention or perform to be valued. It creates an invisible, accumulating bond of safety. The more present she is, the more he reveals of his inner world. He begins to associate her with clarity and peace, an experience almost addictive for a heart accustomed to chaos. Yet presence is not just calmness, it is aliveness. It is the spark in her eyes when she laughs, the warmth in her voice when she speaks truthfully, the soft, confident energy radiating from authenticity. It is the subtle dance between stillness and spontaneity that makes her energy feel vibrant, alive, and unpredictably compelling. A man is instinctively drawn to this vitality because it mirrors his own desire to feel fully awake. Her presence reminds him what it feels like to exist fully, not to rush, not to control, but to experience. In her presence, he often rediscovers parts of himself he had forgotten or suppressed. True presence cannot be faked, because energy never lies. You may speak perfectly, smile at all the right moments, and appear attentive, but if your mind is elsewhere, your energy reveals the truth. Presence demands inner alignment, thoughts, emotions, and body moving in harmony. When this exists, even silence becomes eloquent. A woman who has mastered presence does not need to chase attention. It comes naturally. She does not convince a man to love her. She awakens his capacity to feel love simply through her existence. Her energy acts as a mirror, revealing him to himself. In that reflection, he falls not only for her, but for the man he becomes when he is near her. This is the secret of presence. It does not speak. It transmits. True connection does not beg for attention or approval. It creates it naturally. In that silent exchange, something ancient awakens, the recognition of two souls meeting beyond words in the quiet truth of simply being. Making a man love you like crazy is not about tricks, games, or manipulative strategies. It is about awakening something authentic within him. Love is not a chase, a conquest, or a reward to be earned. It is an energy exchange between two souls who recognize themselves in one another. A man does not fall for the woman who tries to win him. He falls for the one whose presence reminds him of who he truly is. When you reflect his deeper self, create emotional safety, Embody quiet feminine strength, embrace vulnerability, live authentically, and let your presence speak louder than words. You become unforgettable. You cease to be just another person in his life and instead become an experience he cannot replace. Love in its highest form is not born from need or scarcity, but from wholeness. When you no longer seek completion from a man, you become the mirror that allows him to see his own completeness, the quiet reflection that awakens his highest self.